Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We are here to bring you more in-depth coverage of the vehicles from the Raiti's Rides garage. And what do we have for you today? What an update! It's this car right here. This is a 2021, my 2021 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 1LE that I affectionately call Ruby. But before we get into this supercharged manual transmission equipped muscle car, let's talk about what's going on here. So we all know the Camaro's dead. Brings a tear to my eye every time I think about it. But that is one of the major reasons why I had to add Ruby to the Raiti's Rides garage. After driving a 1LE, it just really put things into perspective with where we were at with the Camaro platform, especially for the 6th generation, and where it was going, which I knew it was not going to go on forever. Another thing that was very important, which we'll talk about more when you hop in and go for an on-throttle drive with me, is of course that Tremec 6-speed manual transmission. Now, quite amazing that this ZL1 1LE was able to do a 7-minute 16-second lap around the Nürburgring, especially for the size of vehicle it is. But does it really deserve a spot in the Raiti's Rides garage? Do you believe that it does? And what is the update? How has she been running? And do I still get that pitter-patter every time I go on throttle? Well, what better way to do it? Hop on in, buckle in, and shut up, because we're gonna go on throttle in my 2021 ZL1 1LE. All right, guys, we're inside of my 2021 Camaro ZL1 LE, the car that I call Ruby. And right away, it's like you're sitting in a fighter cockpit. That's what it feels like when you're behind the wheel of this car. That Tremec 6-speed manual, one of the best in the business. Love having the head-up display in this car because it's got all of the important information that you need and want, especially that tachometer and the gear indicator. It's funny because when you first get behind the wheel, you're like, golly, I can't see out of this. But it does get easier once you figure out where the blind spots are. And if you think about it, you should be looking forward, and the visibility out the front is fantastic. With the introduction of the digital rear view mirror, it really makes it a game changer and a lot easier, of course, to see and to have some visibility. You gotta be careful with those Goodyear Supercar 3R tires that come on the Camaro ZL1 1LE. They are a very, very track-focused tire. Very track-focused. And a lot of people, once they wear them out, they don't put them back on. Clutch modulation is actually quite good. Not as easy as the GT350R, but definitely easier than my 2023 Challenger Hellcat with the manual. I love the balance of the supercharged V8 sound, and of course all the pops and bangs coming out of the back. With these cars, another reason why I added each one of them is none of them have fake sound. None of them have pumped in sound. So you're getting the real deal when it comes to driving these vehicles. Gauges are great. You got the analog tach, analog speedometer, but then you have that 7-inch digital display with an array of important gauges like oil pressure, oil temp, very important gauges. The throws on the Tremec are perfect, short, crisp. that's really where it all comes together. On throttle! You need to be gingerly with the throttle pedal because of all that torque. 650 pound-feet of torque is quite a bit, especially if you do not have heat built in to those Goodyear tires. But 325s out back, that electronic limited slip diff, and yes, the Multimatic dual spool valve dampers they're on the stiffer side. Are they too harsh for the road? No. But you are going to notice a bumpier ride, and it is going to be a more harsh ride than the MagneRide suspension, or I should say magnetic ride suspension in the regular ZL1. But if you're looking for the car that if you take it down your favorite twisty road or take it to a track, you're gonna show up 911 GT3Rs in this thing if you know what you're doing. And that's the incredible part about it. I mean, for this car to have a time around the Nürburgring of a 7-minute 16-second lap is pretty freaking stupendous. I can't even talk. That's how crazy this car is. But I just love the seating position, and I love rowing through that 6-speed. Steering wheel feels great, very communicative, and it's fast. I mean, this thing will turn before you even think about it. So let's see how she does. Gotta be very focused. Sounds so good. So good. Ready? On throttle! It's like being in the Millennium Falcon, man. It's like things just start to blur on you. But the handling is so good. Oh, the sound. Eargasms for days. Even after you park her, you still keep having eargasms. It's funny because a lot of people were wondering why did I get a ZL1 1LE after the GT350R? They thought the two cars were very, very close together. They're very quite different and so far apart from one another. Maybe not so much in on-track performance, but just the way they drive, they're so different. So different. But I love that the head-up display is something that the GT350R nor my Challenger Hellcat has. In the GT350R, you do have head-up display with shift lights, but that's the only information, just the lights, nothing else. This gives you a bunch of information, including the gear indicator, like I mentioned earlier. But the Recaros are very, very comfortable, heated and ventilated, full power assisted here. And you got that massive wing out back, providing over 300 pounds of downforce. Watch this. Oh yes, here we go. Front end grip is superb. On throttle! Look at this thing. But I promise you, she will bite you. She will bite you hard if you, and not in a good way, she will bite you hard if you're not on your tippy toes with this thing. It really is very interesting just how fierce she is. Nothing docile about this ZL1 1LE, that's for sure. And, you know, so far since I've owned her, she's been running like a champ. Clutch is great. All the controls, the AC, everything has been working as they are supposed to. So that's really good news if you're looking at a Camaro ZL1 or a ZL1 1LE. Remember, 1LE was never intended to be about more horsepower. It's about the suspension, it's about the chassis, it's about the brakes and the aero. That's how it was always intended, even going back to the 1980s when the 1LE option was made available. It was all about helping the SCCA racers out in the showroom stock class, because for you to race in that class, it has to be something available from the factory. So 1LE would get you all those goodies to help you on the track. The bigger radiator, engine oil cooler, all those things to help the car perform. And really the 80s was the heyday of SCCA showroom stock racing, because you had the C4 Corvette, you had Fox body Mustangs, you had Camaros, Firebirds and Trans Ams. A lot of good competition back then. But these Recaros are not as tight as the Recaros in my GT350R. And like I said, the fact that they're heated and ventilated, geez, do they kind of spoil you in a car that is really, really track focused. But I'm hoping that this has been a fun ride. It was definitely fun having you sitting next to me and going on throttle and just talking about Ruby and why she's in the garage. It really is a unique driving experience compared to the other two, and one that I just had to have in the garage. And I don't think I could ever sell her, just because they don't make them like this anymore, because they don't make Camaros anymore. But we're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, what a magical moment. Every time I get behind the wheel of this car, it's always a magical moment, and it's even better when I get to share it with you. But that's one of the major reasons why this car is in the Raiti's Rides garage, is because of Ruby's personality. She is a sledgehammer. She is a sledgehammer, but she's scalpel sharp, which is amazing. But let me know what you think in the comment section. If this ZL1 1LE was really worth getting into the Raiti's Rides garage, and should she stay? Let me know how you feel about it in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, think of being part of the Raiti's Rides family, got to give it up to LGR. She loves Ruby, and she loves anything that has that muscle car essence to it. So thank you, Lori, for flexing your muscles and working that camera like the champion you are. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.